Hey, New York has got to stop crying about the immigrant problems that's going on, the immigration problems that's going on in their state. They're continuously crying for federal help and U.S. help and all this other crap. And yet they suffer nowhere near the restrictions that are applied here in Texas by my governor, Greg Abbott. This douchebag of a governor. Yeah, he's dropping off migrants in New York. This is true. But, don't say but, however, New York doesn't have anywhere near the problems. And I'll give an example here in San Antonio, when the migrants were being moved from along the border out of holding facilities that Alejandro Mayorkas had placed. You know, one of the stops that they made, I mean, there was Houston, there was other places like El Paso, there was also this city here in San Antonio. And we were doing real good in maintaining our migrants facilitated until Greg Abbott stepped in and started to try to pull a power play in having all of the migrants that we had here released back into DPS captivity, Department of Public Safety captivity. Despite the fact that Department of Public Safety themselves have said, oh, we're overcrowded, we can't keep all these prisoners, and you can't keep all these people in captivity, and all that garbage, and that Biden needs to do his job. Well, Biden did his job. He had a bunch of facilities scattered all over Texas with the help of volunteers, of other people, other politicians just like mine. And once that started to go into place, here comes Greg Abbott to screw shit up again, to screw stuff up again, excuse me. And to top it all off, all of the, in order to protect the migrants from being taken away by Texas Department of Public Safety, all of the migrants that were scattered all over the U.S. into holding facilities there had to be moved back to the border into the little makeshift facilities that were made, it sucks. It sucks because not only, especially here in San Antonio, not only were we taking care of our migrants that we had in holding facilities, we were quarantining them from COVID-19 and the healthy. We were also stopping traffickers who were supposed to collect these migrants on our side of the border, and finish collecting their pay. They paid the migrants paid a lot of money to cross the border, who are trafficked here, and there was supposed to be somebody to pick them up, and whoever was here that was supposed to house them or whatever was supposed to pay those traffickers. So these traffickers were approaching our facilities here in San Antonio saying, hey, I need these two kids, or I need those two people, or I need this family. I'll sign for them and I'll take them into my custody. And the law enforcement stepped in and arrested them. They said, no, you're not going to be trafficking these people. These people are supposed to have sponsors, and they're supposed to have sponsors that are supposed to be done through the government's policies. Not just saying, okay, give them over here to me. You see what I'm saying? And then Governor Greg Abbott thwarted it all. He had us removed all of the stuff out of all of the migrants out of San Antonio back over to the border town with the makeshift things, where again, the risk of death is a lot higher. The risk of missing people are a lot higher. The risk of getting trafficked are a lot higher, as opposed to how the plan was issued by the U.S. government, which was to scatter them all over Texas into different parts and have them secured, and then have them go through the process of being, vetted in. New York isn't going through any of that crap. Okay? New York doesn't have any of those problems. Not by political leaders. I'm sure there are traffickers trying to reach and grab hold of the migrants here on this state in New York. But as long as they keep them secure, and as long as these traffickers are not actually going through the vettings and the background checks and to see as to whether or not they're even gang related, or whether they actually are church-going, God-fearing, Bible chucker Christians and all this other stuff, because they pose in many different forms. They take on different forms in order to get those migrants to continue trafficking and to continue making money off of them. New York has the perfect opportunity to bust them, to make this state look like chumps. But instead, they're going, Biden, help us. Biden, help us. We need more money. They don't need money. There's billions of people in New York that still survived. And I can tell you this much right here and now. I can tell you this much. When COVID hit and people were dying in far larger quantities than here in Texas, when people were dying, what did they do? They got organized. They got organized, and they didn't leave corpses lying around and all this other stuff. They didn't stack them and bury them in mass graves and all this shit. They put them in containers. They organized. They put them in containers and freezers and all this good stuff the way they were supposed to and everything like that. To think that they can do that to somebody, to a mass population that has fallen victim to a virus, but yet can't do shit for migrants who are willing to cooperate and seek asylum. That just doesn't make any sense to me. It says that New York doesn't want to do anything unless they're getting free checks, no differently than Greg Abbott, who got checks, yeah, but he did it by way of suing the government, claiming border security threat and all this other crap. New York is being polite about it. They're being polite about it by requesting more fundings. But in all out honesty, they really don't need it. They've got billions of people in that state with enough talents to construct holding facilities, to construct, plumbing, water supply, food supply. New York has a huge connection through everything from farming to water to housing to electric power and all this good stuff. That state just needs to organize. San Antonio is proof of this. San Antonio is proof of this. Until that worthless douchebag of a governor of ours started fucking things up, we had things organized. New York doesn't have a douchebag of a governor like Abbott. New York has a governor that's actually cooperative. All they have to do is just get organized. And this is what I'm talking about. They need to stop their bitching. They need to stop their crying. They need to rub the elbow grease on the palms and start burning the midnight candle and stuff like that. They need to roll up their sleeves and get organized. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It is so exhausting to look on the news and see New York, this great place, home of the Giants and, the Mets and all this other crap, Spider-Man and all this other crap, the Big Apple, Manhattan, you got all these rappers from over there that represent and all this other stuff. But yet you come to a real life crisis, a real chance of saving a bunch of people's lives and getting them vetted through and all this other stuff. And all you have to do is get organized. That's all they have to do. And they're out here going, yeah, man, Biden, give us some money. We can't handle this. Enough is enough with that crap. They need to stop crying and they need to get their acts together. Because they don't have the problems we do. They don't have the problems. They don't have their own fucking governor. They don't have their own worthless governor causing problems to the system. They don't have Lieutenant Dan Patrick and that Stephen McCraw messing up everything, complicating shit, complicating things, complicating the process. We had everything controlled, And then we had until our own state's political leaders mucked it up and then said, well, Biden needs to do his job. Biden was doing his job. As sure as we had everything organized and controlled, no matter how much they were saying it's an invasion, which once again, there was no invasion. An invasion entails an army, not a bunch of asylum seekers. starving and dehydrated. You know, invasion involves an army that's out to destroy everything. Nothing has been destroyed. Nothing has been destroyed. There's no crops that have been removed. There's no cattle that's been slaughtered. We got tons of ranches. No ranches have been slaughtered. Okay, no ranches have been burnt down. We have farmlands. No crops have been destroyed. We've got, you know, on those farmlands, barns. No barns have been burnt down. No breaking and entries. Hell, not even a dead dog. You know, it's all a lie. But it's a lie that encouraged Texas to be beat and uncooperative by choice or by force. Okay? Hype, propaganda, all that crap played into effect, along with the bullcrap complications that our own political leaders are responsible for. New York doesn't have any of that shit. Excuse me, New York doesn't have any of that stuff. They don't got anybody complicating anything. They need to quit their bitching. They need to stop their crying. They need to get organized and get everything together. Because I'm just really tired of looking at that on the news. I'm really tired of their crying and bitching on the news. That's all that I did for today. I hope everybody else is taking care of themselves. We're getting closer and closer to the weekend. Happy Thursday to everybody out there. Y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out. Keep on keeping on, y'all.